And we are live, guys. Thank you for waiting. I do apologize. I don't want to hide behind Hawaiian time, but I will say I will take the responsibility for Hawaiian time. I'm a one-man band today, but thank you for those of you that are here, and I'm just grateful that you. I'm so excited. I'm making myself stutter over my own excitement. Got a very special guest today. But before we get into that, I just want to quickly just give some shout outs to my partners real quick. Today's episode has been brought to you by Archon Mounts. And for those of you that are content creators, live streamers, holidays coming up, and you're trying to find someone to hold your phone to take a picture, well, don't do that. Go to archon.com. I'll put it in the bottom. They have mounts like tripods. If you have DSLR, all those things. If you go to archon.com, you get a tripod. If you have GoPro cameras, DSLR, I think I said that already. All that good stuff. Very good quality mounts. When you go to checkout, be sure to put in Hawaii. Yes, so that's HAWAII. That's Hawaii at checkout, and you'll get 25% off until the end of the year off of all the equipment that you buy from them. So thank you for listening to this ad. Thank you for just being patient. Guys, we're going to get started in just a second. Today's guest is, it's funny for me to say this. He's a good friend of mine, and we've never met organically. And I say good friend because I treat him likewise. We met on social media here on X. I'm going to say X because we all landed here now, but I met him on X, and a former social media company that was assimilated or purchased by X. And so we're going to talk all about that just to kind of get you a little bit excited about what's going to happen today. He is the first content creator from X to live stream in North Korea. We'll explain the details about that in just a second. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy. In about 30 seconds, you're going to meet my very good friend, Dave in Osaka. Are we good? We're good. Yeah. Audio's good.
Yeah. Hey.
I meant to tell you earlier, I love the tracksuit. Is that a tracksuit? Is that what they call that?
Yeah, I guess
Adidas.
my Adidas.
It took you a while, if I'm not mistaken, to show your face on live streaming. Am I right in that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think for maybe I don't know how many months or
Not that
whatever.
long. Yeah.
I just didn't. I mean, I was one of the some people did the talking head thing. You talk to everyone, but I was doing the location stuff, so my camera was pointed outwards. And yeah, I didn't show for a while. I don't know why. I wasn't really trying to do anything, but yeah, I didn't show much.
It's hard when you got so much beauty around you to put it on yourself. That's how I felt anyway.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. Like when you, especially what you have, bro.
Yeah, well, you two over there, yeah. Well, you started off what, doing location where you were talking?
Primarily was location, but at that stage of my life, I was already comfortable, like showing my face. Well, but I think just the ocean and the beach, I think I felt like it was too easy, but even though it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But as we got further on in live streaming, for me anyway, I found that there was always somebody with better content, like visually speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And I just started talking, and so I kind of migrated to that back and forth, right? So
yeah, right.
We got to start this off.
When you look back at the quality of the video, I mean, you said it was really beautiful, but the quality of the video at that time was not much to
780.
really appreciate that beauty so much. It wasn't that great. It was bad.
We were lucky if it was 780p.
780. It was more like 320 sometimes. I mean, it depends where a lot of the signals were pretty bad in a lot of places, so.
And we still watched each other. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's the thing. It wasn't about the visual so much, it was just connecting there.
Well, that and the fact that I could travel anywhere in the world,
Yeah,
right? I just
that was
when
a
I
new
see,
thing.
I always look forward to if I saw a red dot in Japan, I'm there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Hokkaido, Osaka, of course, Tokyo.
Hmm.
I seen a lot of Tokyo. Oh, actually, Al, and
Yeah, right, right.
yeah, and I met him.
I
I'm
think
like,
we had a bit of an advantage here. We had a pretty good connection, like it's pretty fast, so the signal weren't too bad. But I mean, in general, across the board, everywhere wasn't that great.
yeah. Well, real quick before I forget, to all of my ex family, I apologize. My comments don't populate in my software, so I'm using StreamYard. Um, Twitter disengaged that for some reason. So if you're live on X, thank you first of all for watching. And if you missed the introduction, we have Dave in Osaka. His name's up on the left right corner of your screen. That's his user handle on all social medias, I think.
Yeah,
It used to be Wagamama Mama on Periscope,
it was. Yeah.
which I never quite. Dude, what does that mean? I know I asked you before. I
In
forgot.
Japanese, wagamama means selfish. So, and I didn't really pick it for that reason. I just thought it was. I always thought it was a funny word. So I just put that, and then I was like, I'll tag a little bit more just to make it even more silly, and I just used it
And you
as
know what's
my
funny? You're
handle.
a white dude in a foreign land saying you're selfish. That's so funny to me.
Yeah, yeah.
That's-
So that was at the beginning there. Yeah.
well, let's do this toast. So for my ex
Okay.
family, I'll share my side of it. And I don't know if you have a side to it or not, but I was telling my wife today. I said,
Mhm.
she says, why are you buying this fish? I said, because we're gonna eat, we're gonna cook it. And then I thought of it, no, I'm gonna eat it. So last night was the worst fish cutting job in the history of my entire existence, but I was
I
under
watched it.
pressure.
Yeah.
It was terrible. Oh my god. My
Well, they already
cousins,
slaughtered it a bit, didn't they? They didn't
yeah,
give you
yeah.
much to work with.
Well, they first of all they cleaned it wrong. They cut, so when you cut fish, right, it has to be a straight line along the belly, and then
Hmm.
they clean it. They cut it up, and it was weird. And I'm not blaming it for my poor skills, but when I watched them, I totally did everything wrong. But you're under pressure. I'm live, and so. But anyways, yeah. So I told my wife that I had this whole grand plan and dream, and I'm gonna do this. My plan is next year. I'm gonna find a way to go out there and meet you.
Okay.
But of course, pandemic and my whole
Yeah.
brother situation changed a lot.
Yeah. Right.
But
Right.
we're supposed to eat together and eat something exotic. That was
Yeah.
my plan anyway.
Yeah.
So I know we're going to do that today. For those of you that don't know the backstory, that's why we're going to do it today. So I have no, actually, why don't you show yours first, if you don't mind?
Okay.
Yeah, well, check this out, guys. I'm going to put them on a jumbotron. Bro, check this out. Let's make
All
them
right.
big.
This is. I'm gonna take a drink. Greg's gonna eat. I'm gonna drink. So, this
I'm
is
gonna.
the.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
This is a bottle of habushu. Habushu. Habu is the snake. Habu is a Okinawan pit viper, poisonous snake, and shu is alcohol. So, this is a preparation of alcohol with a Okinawan pit viper in it. So I think the yellow comes from the herbs that they use in it, and they, it's made of a drink called awamori. I believe it's a mix of awamori and alcohol. Awamori is like a rice kind of alcohol, and it's famous in Okinawa, yeah, in the southern islands. So this is a real Okinawan pit viper. There's different ways that they prepare it. I can tell you the more uh, spectacular way or the more interesting way. I think they put it on ice, which puts it to sleep, and then they remove the intestines or whatever from it, and then it wakes up and supposedly strikes, and that's why you see it open mouth like that, striking, and then they put it in the bottle. So that is Okinawan pit viper alcohol, yeah, traditional drink down there.
So they removed the intestines, I'm guessing, so there's no
Yeah,
toxic or bitter taste, I'm guessing.
yeah, right.
Right.
That yeah, for that reason, yeah. But I don't know the percentage. I think it's not too high. Oh, it is 35%. It's strong. Yeah. So usually you can drink it on ice, or you can drink it straight, or you can drink it with hot water. Or the other one is, what's the other one? Yeah, that's it. Those ways on the rock. Yeah, on the rock.
So on
But
the rock
that's
would
okay.
be a little bit diluted, I'm guessing.
Yeah. It's pretty strong. So yeah, mizuwari. It's like mixed with water, which is probably how you usually drink it, just to dilute. Because 35% is pretty killer.
So before you do that, we're gonna do a toast. But before we do that, I just want to share with nothing life threatening like Dave's. I got a raw. What it could be. I'm scared of this one. I'll be honest. I'm a little bit scared about oysters because this one was left out last night. So I'm gonna chance it. So this is a raw oyster, and I've got sashimi of snapper. So in New Zealand, I think they call it Thai. Thai
Thai,
snapper.
yeah,
Yeah.
in Japanese too, yeah.
Oh,
Thai.
Japanese.
Red
So
snapper, yeah.
the dude was telling me yesterday, oh, it's from Mexico. I'm thinking Mexico, and I said, but it's fresh. Where did you guys get it from? He said, oh, this comes in with our shipment in our Hawaii shipment box. So I looked it up.
Oh,
The company they get it from is from Honolulu Fish Company, where I like to get my fish from. So it's actually it's going to be either Thai or Hawaiian snapper. So
okay. So
and
it's
that's
from
why,
Mo.
yeah. So kind of, I'm gonna do this real quick. We'll do a toast. I'm gonna eat the sashimi for you, and we'll talk about. If you guys don't know, Dave, that one sashimi you ate, my wife was like, "No, you're not gonna eat that," which is
Which one
the
was that?
fugu. No,
Oh yeah.
the other one.
Yeah. The
The
well, there's
spur,
another one. It's kind of the semen.
the semen. Yeah.
Yeah, the fish semen. Yeah.
I don't have a fork. I'm gonna do my hand. So I'm gonna do this real quick.
All right,
And so if we were there, man, I would love to do this with you one day. And
for sure.
this is so buttery.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Ooh.
I'll do the oyster later. Mm. Sound effects. Is it strong?
Yeah, it's super strong.
You said 35%, right?
Yeah.
My
It's very
daughter made
strong.
this tea. So she made this oolong tea.
Oh, very nice.
So she said, "You want the Japanese or the Chinese tea?" I said, "You know what? Do the Chinese because I'm not Japanese. I'm Hawaiian Chinese Filipino." So,
Oh wow, I didn't know that. Okay.
but definitely Hawaiian. My mom was Hawaiian Chinese, so I'll do one more
Okay.
close to cheers, brother.
Cheers. Yeah. Cheers. Oh, not gonna be drinking too much of that.
Okay, we want Dave sober tonight.
No more cheers.
I'm gonna pop up a video and then we'll talk about this.
Okay.
It's all public, so that's why I didn't ask you beforehand because it's on your YouTube channel. So
Okay, cool. Oh, so we'll just go stand at the front over there, like down between these two poles, and then I'll take a picture and then we'll leave. Okay.
I mean, just for the group picture.
Oh.
Souvenir.
Okay, I'm saying for me, can we stand over there? Is that okay?
Oh, yes.
Just in the middle?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that's all, and then maybe one from here,
Yeah.
and then this. It's not a nice day for a group picture. Getting all wet.
Yes.
were those boots I heard in the audio in the background? What was that?
I don't know. I'm not sure. There were soldiers there, yeah, but
That was that like a main square of?
yeah. So that's the mausoleum of Kim Il Sung. So that used to be the Parliament buildings, I believe, or it used to be where he lived, and then when he died, they made it into a mausoleum just for him, and that complex is insane. Like the security to get into the final room of his body where it is, you got to go through layers and layers of security, like metal detectors, and going there is like it's like a sacred thing for North Koreans, and it's even weird. Once you get into the final room, they blow you. It's like you go through this massive vacuum that blows air all over you to purify you, I guess. And then you go into the room, and there's this in the middle of the room. There's him, like a red light onto him, and his body is there. And you go up, and people line up, and you have to bow to him on every side. There's three sides you bow, but not behind his head. And yeah, even as a tourist, they say like you got to please respect our tradition and do that. So I did. I didn't care. But the second time I went, Kim Jong Il had passed away, and they had another room in there for him. So his father's in the one room, and then in the other room there's Kim Jong Il, and you do the same thing. You bow on every side except the back of his head. So,
Did you have to go through interview or security process before even entering the country?
Well, I don't know if maybe they did, but I don't even know. But yeah, they
You
probably
probably
do.
did.
They do give. I'm sure. I wouldn't be surprised. You have to do it through an agency. You can't fly directly into the country, so you have a representative that deals with them, the North Korean Tourist Board, and they do brief you before you go. You fly into Beijing, and then the company who's your liaison to them will interview you. Not interview you, they'll brief you on what you're going to go through. But you already know. Obviously, you want to know what you're getting into before you get there. But then they give you the details even more when you get there. Don't do this, don't do that. Make sure you're respectful, blah blah blah, all that. And then when you get there, the immigration, when you get in, they do check your bags. They don't want the two things they said were big was the religious material. They don't want you to bring in any religious material, and even like language books, teaching other languages. They don't want you to, I guess, just because communicating easier with them. And then the cell phone. The first time I went in 2011, they took your cell phone. So you at the airport, they'll take your cell phone, and then when you leave again, they'll give it back to you. But the second time, they let you actually bring it in. There was actually a network, a cellular network that you could tap into, and I was streaming from there. So
I'm confident that network was not 100% secure.
no, it's actually made. It was made by an Egyptian company, Orascom, I think it's called, and I'm not sure if something happened where they had a falling out and they kicked them out. Like the Egyptians built it, and then I think they had a falling out and they kicked them out or something like that, and they managed it themselves. But anyways, they're the ones who made the network. This Egyptian company, I think it's Orascom. But yeah, so there was a signal. There was a cellular network that only could be used by foreigners if they want to access outside the country. But the domestic people, there's no way. They had no contact with the outside world.
How did you feel about that at the time? Did you
Them
have
not
any?
be able.
Yeah, did you have any emotion about that, or
What did I think about it? To be honest, I was so paranoid about my situation.
who
I was
cares
like, I
about
got to
that?
think
Who
about
cares
myself.
about that?
Well, it's not even I don't care. Just
No, yeah, I know.
to be honest, the first time I went, I did not enjoy it. I honestly did not. I was so nervous because everything, just hearing about everything, but I wanted to see it. That's why I went. I was so curious. I wanted to see with my own eyes what was happening. And I was cut off from the world. Like at that time when, everybody had a cell phone. For that week that I was there, I was cut off from the world. I had no connection to the outside world. I did have a phone, but the rate of the phone call was ridiculously expensive, so I never used it. So yeah, I was very paranoid, and even the second time, I was a little bit more relaxed. But I'm trying to think of those little things like that, the ethical aspect of it. That's very low on my mind. More thinking about, okay, am I okay? Am I doing this okay? Am I making somebody angry or by doing this? Because there's so many rules when you go there. I was just being I was more concerned about that.
Did they assign you a guide to
Yeah.
be with you the entire time, or?
Yeah. So you can choose if you want to go with a tour group. So you're with other foreigners in a, probably large groups, 30, 40 people. But again, I wanted to immerse myself as much as I could. So I did independent travel. And in that case, they assign you two guides and a driver. And the two guides speak perfect English, flawless English. And the driver, yeah, they drive you around everywhere. They treat you, I mean, they're pretty good, but at the same time, they're watching it too. They're
So
doing that.
the second time you went, you used their I want to say Wi-Fi or their internet connection, data
Yeah.
connection. Okay, because you remember, I can't remember how I got it, but there was a company that was sponsoring us for a little bit. You remember that iVideo Wi-Fi? I think it was called.
Yeah, right.
I don't know how much they gave you, but I got a very small amount of data that they would sponsor me, and I would have to purchase at a discounted rate or whatever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I think the first month or so, they said if you promote, here's your promo code, and then they can purchase at a discount. It was never financially feasible here because, like in other countries, it probably made sense. But I remember it was iVideo Wi-Fi, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, right.
And I know you use them as well.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I think it was right at the, pardon?
You couldn't take that to North Korea, though,
No,
right?
no. I had to buy a SIM card there. So that's another story. Buying the SIM card, just the SIM card itself was $250. Just the SIM card, no data. I had to go I mean, there's no cell phone store, so I had to get it at a hotel lobby. You register there and you tell them, I want a SIM card, and then you have to buy the data, and the data is $1 per megabyte. So if you're streaming, right, that burns through megabytes like that, and I forget how much I spent a lot of money. But
and you're self-financed, right? You don't have any corporate sponsorship. This is out of your own pocket.
No. And what else was it? I had to use the VPN, obviously, because if they see you're doing that, they obviously might have said something. But I used the VPN, and I remember I was shutting down all the other things on my phone to make sure I don't use any data because it was so expensive. But the signal wasn't that great, but I did it. The point was I just wanted to do it. I wanted to connect with the outside world and just to show whatever I could, whatever glimpse I could.
I honestly cannot remember if you live stream from there because I don't remember, but I do remember all the other locations very vividly. But so in North Korea, you only been twice or more than 2 times?
2 times, yeah.
Are you going to go again?
If I did go again, I'd want to do something more volunteering. So I want to do something like teaching English, like contributing a bit more than just spectating, which probably makes up for what I said before, the paranoia of being there and trying to make it a bit better and concern for the people. I want to kind of contribute to it a bit if I could.
That would be pretty powerful.
There are people that do that. They do the English teaching. I've seen them that do it there. So,
and then there's teaching right now, right? You're still teaching?
Yeah, I'm teaching here at a university. So, and then there's also people that do the humanitarian work, or the charities and that. So,
and they allow that, like, as long as it's monitored?
Yeah. I'm sure they monitor you very, very closely. But yeah, they I think there's even they say Americans can't go there, but I think if you are for humanitarian reasons, I believe that's the loophole to get in for an American, is if you're a volunteer. I believe. I'm not sure, but yeah, a lot of people do I can't say a lot of people, but they do the volunteering in North Korea. So,
well, I know Dennis Rodman got in.
Yeah, he did.
I think twice, maybe more than twice.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's been there a few times. He's got connection. The big guy likes him there.
He likes basketball too, apparently.
Yeah, right.
It's funny you were saying that because I remember I asked about the interviewing process, and I forget what year, but President Obama, right out of office, he came to Hawaii. Well, he's been coming to Hawaii every year, but I got a chance to meet him, and
oh wow!
So my boss at the time is friends with him, and we, where I worked at, I retired. I had an early retirement from Paul Mitchell in Hawaii, and so Obama would stay at his house. And
Wow.
so, but here's the thing: we had to sit in front of the Secret Service supervisor, whoever I can't remember her name, but she interviewed us. We had to fill out paperwork,
Wow.
and then she it was all non-intrusive questions, right?
Mhm.
But then I had to furnish all of my personal details and even my social security number. So I'm assuming that they ran my credit, everything, just to get to know who I am. And then after I passed the interview, and so all we did, honestly, so my job at Palm Beach, I was sanding and refinishing. That's all I did was woodworking. But whenever a guest would come, I would be concierge and hey, do you need, what do you this is what do you need kind of a person.
Okay.
But when Obama and his family came, after I was approved, was me and one of my coworkers. And so there are three of us. And they gave us this pin with the American flag.
Oh,
And I
wow.
was so happy. And they gave me a Secret Service coin. It's like these
wow.
commemorative coins. And I was like, I'm so happy. And I put the pin on my bag. And I'll take my bag home and come back to work with my bag. Then I thought about it. I don't think this is just a regular American flag pin.
No.
I think this is one of those electronic tracking devices.
Oh, you think so?
That's what I thought. But
did you put under an X-ray or
I didn't, because I'll be honest with you, I was kind of nervous about it. I'm like, I don't know if I should. I'll just leave it alone.
Yeah.
I'll just get rid of it, because I literally thought, but my uncle was a cop in Kailua, and he said that there was about 2,000 law enforcement special agents just in the town.
Wow.
Just for him.
Oh my God.
2,000.
And how many people are in that town anyway? What's the population?
50,000 in that town.
Okay.
So the 2,000 would be spread out. There are snipers on the mountaintops just hanging out. They just camp out. Yeah. And so how I found out is that their sniper rifles, when they're done, they would come down the hill, go to the police station in Kailua where I lived, and they would turn the weapons in, and they would store the weapons at the police station. The next shift would come in and sign off for the weapon and go up on the hill. And that's all they did, just wait. 2,000 law enforcement.
That's amazing.
I mean, that's multiple agencies, of course. That's like local PD, Secret Service, Coast Guard, Navy, you name it, every agency.
How long was he there for?
When he would come, the family would stay for a month.
Oh.
He would usually come in a little bit later because he was always in DC, because it's always around Christmas time.
Right.
So they would work to the very end, right? But they would stay for a month, and they're dogs, beautiful dogs.
Oh yeah. What kind of dogs? I don't remember.
I don't even know. I want to say like standard poodles or something.
Okay.
Something exotic, big dog. They're kind of bigger, so. But I gotta be careful what I say. I will say this though: the chef that, I don't know if you ever heard about the chef that made the news recently, who he drowned.
I think I might have.
Yeah, his name was Tamari, Chef Tamari. But I talked with him. They found him. He drowned in a lake or something, in a pool. And I was like really amazed. I'm like, wow, because I met him. I don't know. He's super healthy, fit. He wasn't in bad shape. So a lot of interesting stories in that. But anyways, I just wanted to share that with you because of the security, and that was just
yeah. No, I never got any interview like that. Yeah, but I guess you would if you get that close to the president. I guess everybody has to go through.
I did because we took pictures. I'll share the pictures later, but something so in the main house where they stayed. I don't know if you remember when I would live stream my drone from there. I would take out from the house. So the house.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, dude, I'd take it off from the dining table and go straight out to the islands. Yeah, so that's where they would stay, right?
That house, that was a beautiful place.
Yeah.
What was it called? The two mountains there, the
Mokulua Islands.
Yeah, that's right. So that's where you were. That's where you did all those. Yeah. Oh man, that was amazing. I remember you saying you can't talk about what you were doing there or whatever, but now I didn't even know that's what you were doing. I had no idea.
My dad met Mariah Carey over there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't because I don't think I was on staff at that time, but my dad was friends with the manager of the place, and so Mariah, um,
So this is like a rental place. Is that what it is? Like people.
it was actually built as a personal residence for Paul Mitchell, and he
Oh,
ended up
okay.
passing away, and so his son Angus
Hmm.
would stay there every year, but because he treats it as a business, it's registered as a business. He's not allowed to stay there longer than 2 weeks.
Oh,
Otherwise, he's going to pay unbelievable taxes on it.
oh, I see.
So he'll come. No, actually, take that back. He can stay, I think, 2 weeks at a time. So he can't stay longer than 2 weeks, but he has to come back a few months later.
I see.
Uh, but yeah, it was basically a rental, but it wasn't like, hey, it wasn't on Craigslist or it was very elite because it was
Yeah,
like
yeah, right, right.
I think $7,000 or $8,000 a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I
How
met.
big of a place? Like how big of a
It's a 2 acre property, which is huge in Hawaii, right?
2 acres? Okay.
Um, 5 buildings, and
Oh
it,
my
it
God.
it it only I think only 15 people basically. So 15 people on 2 acres of land.
Well, that's a lot of people. Yeah, it must be a big place. What
Yeah,
about like the actual residence or the square meters or square feet? How much was that?
I would say the main house was at least 7,000 square feet,
Wow.
at least.
Yeah.
It wasn't really rooms. That's why it was mostly open space. It was like a big, if you can imagine a big turtle shell,
Hmm.
the size of like for a house. That's kind of what it was like on the inside.
I remember from whatever you
Yeah,
showed, it looked like a pretty open concept kind of
yeah.
place. Yeah.
I met
Yeah.
Drew Barrymore, who was one of my childhood crushes.
Oh wow. Where'd you meet
Dude,
her? Where'd you meet her?
she stayed there.
Oh, the same place.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
She actually talked to us for a long time, and I was like, I was so starstruck because as a kid, like I was always like fascinated with her.
Yeah, yeah, right.
But who else did we meet? Quite a bit of people. A few of them we had to sign those non-disclosure, but
Oh, really?
but I still mention because they're not there now. Usually the NDAs are for when they're there,
I see.
or if there's something sensitive that happened there. So,
I see.
but let's talk about what we said earlier. Before I have Dave talk about it, my wife was telling me family before we went live. She was telling me this story about Dave. So if you don't know Dave, he's obviously an amazing. It's so hard to categorize him, but I'll just categorize him as a content creator. He is one of the original content creators to broadcast multiple beautiful locations. And one of the places he went to, my wife just reminded me today, was when he was on a moped and something happened, and it was potentially life changing, not just for him, but even for us that witnessed it. So I'll have you share that story, Dave.
Yeah. Yeah, it was in 2018. I think it was
Yeah.
2018 in Myanmar. And I was on a moped and then an earthquake hit. And I was in the middle of nowhere in I guess it would be central Myanmar, just outside of where is that? Bagan. And Bagan is basically like a pretty barren kind of desert-like place with dotted with temples everywhere. And this earthquake hit, and I was on my bike, and I felt my bike go up and down. And I looked at the temples around me. I could hear the rubble or the stones coming down across the temple. This one massive kind of like a stone pyramid was covered in dust. It was buried in dust. I couldn't even see it, but I could see when it first hit, all the stones coming down, and then all of a sudden it was just covered by dust. I could hear people screaming, and even to my right, there was two smaller temples, and the tops of the temples, the one temple had fallen right over. And just prior to the earthquake, I'd been streaming from the top of one of those temples, and I signed off. And when I signed off, I went down, jumped on my bike, and yeah, when I jumped on the bike, that's when the earthquake hit. And at the time, um, you're in the middle of nowhere and something like that happens. There's no news crews anywhere. So, hey, Tyler, how's it going? There's no news crews anywhere. They have nobody to kind of verify what's happening, what's going on. So I was one of the. There were other people, but I was one of the people that they contacted. I had news agencies going crazy, contacting me, CNN and Reuters and Associated Press, everybody trying to find out what was going on, and they wanted to use my footage, the pictures and the video. And I continued streaming through the day. I did 2 of those there around the temple, just showing what's going on. And at night, I did showing some damage from around that area. And then the next day, too, the next couple of days. And no news crews had got there for days. So, being able to show that live before any international news was there kind of showed you the power of live streaming, being able to bring people live to a situation where there was no people there. You're in the middle of nowhere in a third world country, and you have this 3G stream, and being able to bring it to people live it was crazy. It was just
What the heck
it
is
was a wild
3G?
day. Pardon?
What the heck is 3G?
3G, yeah, no, at the time, but that's what I mean. If you look back on those, some of them actually didn't look bad considering for 3G, but looking back, the tolerance we had. Well, now looking at 1080p is it looks bad, but I guess back then we just didn't know any better.
I think we were just excited and we forgave the poor resolution. Tala says she remembers, and I meant to acknowledge people on Twitch. Thank you. Even Emily. Emily told you hello.
Yeah, I saw Emily.
Yeah.
But there was an excitement, like you said, the excitement at the time about of bringing that kind of stuff live. I'm saying to anybody, there was a vibrancy, there was an excitement about live streaming at the time that I don't know if it's there anymore. I mean, people still enjoy it, but it doesn't have that kind of feel like it did then. Do you agree?
I do, and I was going to tell you this. I want to say, and I'm not doing this just because we're live, because I will tell you this even with the cameras off, but I want to tell you thank you, because you, Louise Poppy, and Chantel TV and I think Bobby Bicker, but more so you three, you, Louise Poppy, and Chantel TV. For those that don't know, Dave in Japan, Louise in New Zealand, and Japan actually, but mostly New Zealand. Chantel TV is in France, now in New Zealand. But those 3 were the 3 people that continued to live stream, even though it wasn't as popular, or even though the audience changed. Yeah. But I want to tell you, Dave, thank you, because I think honestly, had it not been for you to continue, I probably wouldn't have started streaming again, because for those that don't know, Dave is very consistent. I would say he's one of those that's very consistent. It doesn't matter if there's 1 person or 5,000. But thank you for doing that, Dave. I couldn't find enough pictures to put up on here that would represent what you've done. It's crazy how many things you've done. It's just beautiful, the work you've done. It really is.
Well, thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, I said that the excitement of it then was, I mean, there was quite a bit of a vibrancy in the community. Not as much, just because a lot of it is, well, Periscope closed down. That was a huge blow there, and then people scattered. So, it was circumstance, a lot of it, that kind of maybe affected that vibrancy. But and then a lot of people went to YouTube, and Haps that went on too.
There's 2 people that went to YouTube. I don't know if you remember Rob Braxman.
Yeah, of course. He did great.
Got a huge following on YouTube.
Yeah, he did.
Massive. And then there's another guy, which not too many people heard of him, but on Periscope, he didn't get a lot of viewership. but he was always honest and organic. His name is I Am Symphony, and I think he's got like 50,000 followers on YouTube, and all he does is share life.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
yeah. His name is
I didn't know. I don't know about that guy.
yeah. See, not to me, I followed him because I always was intrigued by his voice and the way he carried himself. But I was just watching him on YouTube, and he has a great channel. I think his wife is from Southeast Asia, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But
I Am Symphony.
I Am Symphony.
And where did he broadcast from? What country?
I'm pretty sure the United States. Yeah.
Chile,
Hollis-
Brooklyn. Yeah, he's using YouTube, right? Then the other one is Penguin Six. He's doing well.
Oh yeah.
He's got like doesn't he have like press credentials now to get
Mhm.
into? So he's showing a lot of behind the scenes stuff.
He did drone stuff too. Did he do drone work too?
Yeah, he did.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, Hong Kong,
Oh
and
yeah, that's right.
and then he moved to Washington and made something out of that. I think he was kind of disappointed to leave Hong Kong, but then actually he found most of his success in DC. So
Did you meet him organically?
no, I never did. That was one guy I wish I always did meet. But I met John Ho. I met John in Japan and in Chiang Mai. So it was great to see him a few times. I
John
met
is
him.
good people, even though I've never met him organically.
He
really
is.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a very good guy. Family man, and he's doing well in his business, and he's a good guy. He's very, very entrepreneurial spirit. That's for sure.
And he doesn't hold back. And he'll call BS when he thinks he sees it. That's what I always appreciated about him.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. That's right.
Yeah.
He's real. He's real, I guess. Well, he's exactly like you meet him. Whatever you see on the broadcast is what you see in person. So that's what I like.
I did appreciate that if he saw something good that you did or I did, he was always authentic in inquiring about what we did, how did we do it. I think part of it was like, is that real? Like, are you really getting this or that, or how are you doing this? And that's one thing I appreciate about John. You know, he put
Yeah.
that pressure to make sure that we're always authentic, or you know what I mean. You know,
Yeah, right. When he was in, now he's not really doing that at all, any of that. But yeah, he's definitely an authentic guy. Yeah, the same guy you see on Scope is the same guy you met in real life. I appreciate that.
So for you, where are you now in your live streaming? Is it, do you have anything that you haven't done that you want to do?
Well, I'll be very honest and say a lot of things were financially. I was a little bit better financially now. I was spending a lot of money. Obviously, doing all that stuff costs a lot of money. Going to North Korea is not cheap. Going to Greenland and doing all that is not cheap.
Oh yeah, that's right, Greenland.
And just traveling anywhere is not cheap. So, but I don't. I guess I'm getting a bit older and fewer earning years in my life, so I'm trying to cut that down too. But that's one of the barriers in terms of live streaming is because I'm a location person, moving around costs money. I don't want to. I don't know if I really want to spend my money on that anymore. So, but I absolutely enjoy. I love talking. I just love interacting with the people, and that's what I miss the most when I don't do it. So, but what do I want to achieve? I really want to work more on the YouTube stuff, and I'm trying to think. I do want to keep on. I want to hopefully. I am going to make more money so I can continue the location stuff and bring that back because that's what people enjoyed the most when I was out on location doing all that. So I just haven't been doing it as much, trying to save a bit more money. So that's the biggest thing is finances.
Have any companies reached out to you for brand marketing or anything?
Other than like I'm trying to think who iVideo, they did for a while. I actually got it for free. They gave me free Wi-Fi. And who was the other ones? Not really. Yeah, I nothing off the top of my head I can think of. So, but at the beginning it was pretty exciting. Like there was quite a bit of attention on Periscope. Remember, it was on the news and everything. And if anything, that was the time it was going to happen. But now
it's saturated. I will tell you that. But Were you part of the crew that got those 360 cameras? Did you get one as well?
Yes, yeah, yeah.
That if we
That
could
was
go,
one too. Yeah, that was
yeah,
yeah,
if we could go back in time and tell ourselves
yeah.
do more with this, because Insta 360 is huge now,
It is huge.
huge, and we were there at almost ground floor, really, before they had all these products now.
Yeah, yeah. I remember at the time though they were doing like promoting, and the numbers were kind of weird. Do you remember that?
I
Like
do.
if you had if you had the camera plugged in, you had 300 or whatever people, or I don't even know. We can get into that if you like, since those are the old days. I wonder if those numbers were real. I don't think they were.
I'll tell you. Okay, I'll tell you. Oh, this is going to be good. So with Egg Drop, we offered analytics through bots, right? So our bots is really an overused word. They were basically just programs
Okay.
infused in a user account. So all that means is Joey had, I think, 6 accounts that
Mhm.
were basically bots, if you will,
Okay.
and their only function was to engage in conversation. So if you came into my conversation or live stream and you said, you know what, Greg, you said a bunch of F words, the bots would pick up on what you said
I see.
and
Yeah.
they would remove you
Right.
if I chose to do that. So that's one way of having extra viewers in a broadcast would be technically not true. Okay.
They're not there, and they actually have a function to
Yeah.
be there. Yeah.
So I can tell you for a fact that it was that simple, and the Russians did it by creating thousands of web pages. Basically, is what they would do that would view a live stream. That I know that's how they did it. What I do know is that Periscope/Twitter allowed that to happen on purpose. That's what I believe, because it made them look better than what they actually were. And I think now that when Elon bought Twitter, that's proof that
He
numbers,
exposed it, didn't he?
yeah, he exposed that numbers were not always true. But do you remember Alex Pettit? I think he was a broadcaster in the UK. There were 2 Alexes. One Alex in Germany. There's another Alex Kahn, and there's another Alex
Yes.
Pettit in the UK. They were both have astronomical numbers, unbelievable.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And I won't tell you who, but one of them reached out to us in private. And I'm saying us, meaning Egg Drop. One of them reached out to us in private and said that he had a contract with with Twitter, and so the part of the contract is he would promote their things, and they
Right.
would promise engagement, which means you ever notice sometimes it doesn't matter. Even today, if you go live, you ever notice sometimes you have one viewer and then sometimes you have like thousands. Like, how does that happen?
I never have thousands, but when I do on YouTube, and I have had 1,000, that's real. I think it's real. I think it's like if it's a big news event, like recently, the local team won the championship, the baseball championship. I had 1.7 people concurrent. I think that was real. It wasn't BS.
Yeah,
On YouTube, that's not astronomical numbers. So, but on Twitter, it was not real. I mean, it was just I don't understand. It wasn't even a topic that deserved that attention, and it got to people who didn't deserve that attention.
yeah.
Because of the content. It was just bots. Yeah, I think it was just bots. It was their bots.
I also think a lot of it too was the what's the word? I think visibility is the word, right? Because people would be like, "Oh, you're just doing good because you're in Hawaii or you're in Japan showing extreme exotic stuff." But that's not always true, because sometimes I'll be live and I'll have like 20 people tops. If I had 100, great. And then there are times where I'll have Russian influence, the Russian what do they call it? You know what I mean? And I would have 100,000, right? It's like, okay, I don't care who, that's not real.
No.
But what I do know is that they would give exposure to certain creators. That was part of the deal. And
Yeah.
I won't say who, but there was another broadcaster. There's
Well, I
5.
think they revealed who it was. I think they
Yeah,
revealed.
I think they did too. And you notice those people, they left the platform even before they shut down.
Yeah, right.
because they weren't getting paid. Because I know they got paid a
No.
little bit, So
No, I remember they had a picture of them all together. Like these are the creators that they signed a contract with,
hmm
and they promoted them, and they're the ones who left as soon as the numbers went down or whatever. Their money went away. They left,
yeah.
but
Well,
but people like you and me, or the little people, are the ones who stuck around. That really had that authentically enjoyed it. Just doing it for the fun. So
I shared with there's a Spaces group that I was talking in yesterday. Have you ever jumped in on a Spaces before?
yeah, I've done a couple, not really a lot. So
It's weird because what's his name? The founder of Periscope, Kayvon. So
Kayvon,
Kayvon, yeah, he pioneered Spaces for whatever
yeah, I remember.
reason, right? Um,
Yeah,
and he said this would be the next big thing. And I'm thinking, I felt like it was going backwards. That's what I really felt like. Why are you
yeah,
doing this?
I agree.
But when we did Egg Drop, it wasn't cheap. Just to have server space to run our little program, it was at least $500 a month.
Wow.
And that's just us. And we were a small time. And we didn't even host user accounts like how Periscope did. So I can totally see why they would. I can't even imagine how much they would spend just on server space just for live video. And we're talking a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah.
So to migrate to audio only, I get it. Like I can imagine they save quite a bit of money
Costs, yeah.
cost
But then now I hear that he's going to bring back
in
video
space.
spaces.
Yeah, that's what
So
I heard.
what's the difference between video spaces and live streaming?
I think this is my opinion. I think they're using that video in spaces, so there's no confusion as to what it is. So because if you throw the word Periscope today, people are like, yeah, that's way back then,
Yeah,
whatever.
right.
But if you say, oh, we're going to do video in spaces, people get excited. All the people that are audio only are getting excited.
I see.
But
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I think it's going to be like Zoom. You ever been in a Zoom conference before?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You're going to have 10 people all jumping over each other trying to talk, you know.
So it's not going to be for some reason I thought of like a location thing. I guess it could be. It could be a one person streaming a location, other people
Yeah.
chiming in, but
I think it would work if they what do you use for you use Prism Live or do you use something
yeah,
else?
I use Prism Live. Yeah.
So I think Chantel, if you know Chantel TV, she's the one in France, but
Yeah.
I think she uses Stream Elements or she uses something that I'm using.
Okay.
And you can do
Streamlabs?
Streamlabs. I think it's Streamlabs. I think either that or Restream, one of those two.
Okay.
So you can do multiple. I heard that Twitter is talking with one of those companies, or X is talking to one of those. So if they do purchase or buy out one of those companies, it would work.
And then you could see the comments too, I guess, if they do that, right?
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge barrier. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
understand that. I don't understand the paying to comment thing. I mean, it's already a battle enough to get anybody into the broadcast, but to put that barrier of you got to pay to chat. Oh my God.
That's true.
For little people, it's a killer. It's a killer. Yeah.
I didn't even check if I allowed. I think I did allow comments in my. That's a good question. That is so.
And you can't even, but even you wouldn't even be able to capture it here though, even if you, right?
Yeah.
You can't capture comments on X. So
They used to, and then for some reason, what I heard was they were charging astronomical numbers for other companies to use the comments within the stream.
oh, really?
So I think that goes to what I was saying is that it's not cheap to have server space for live video. So they're trying to recuperate costs. That's what I might be wrong, but
I
it just
knew one of my a friend of mine. He was a streamer too. MJ Klein. I knew MJ from Taiwan. He was dealing with another very small live streaming platform called Broadcast. It was called Broadcast.
yeah.
And he was even thinking of purchasing it because they had closed down. And he got all their financials and everything and how much they spent, and actually the server space, it was ridiculously cheap. It was not expensive, and I don't think it was a small amount of data too. Like it was quite a bit, but it wasn't that expensive. Um, yeah, so I'm not sure, but yeah, you might want to talk to him about that too. I recall him saying over and over again, it's not that expensive to run it. It's not. That's not the cost. That's not the problem with the cost. So
We were using Amazon servers, so I'm
okay.
not sure what everybody else uses, but I'm sure there's Amazon. There's Larry Ellison with his Oracle. I think there's Google as
Mhm.
well. I don't know what Twitter uses, but
They were Russian based, so I don't know what they use. Probably none of those, probably. So
I bet there's a trade off.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we give you good rate. We give you excellent rate, but we take data.
Yeah.
We take data as well. We take it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's probably what it was. You're right.
So Simon I think he's in the UK with
Yeah,
Heckle.
yeah,
Have you
that's
ever?
right.
Yeah, he's been self-funding his own live stream platform, and it's
Well, there's
actually
another person you can ask.
yeah, and he's really good. It's just there's no viewership.
Yeah,
So, but he's got the map feature.
I've seen it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. I hope that I don't think X would do it, but if they did, I mean, it's just too many people. Probably wouldn't be. You know what I mean? Too many. If you have that many people, I guess Periscope didn't have that many people. So if you have that globe function, it's not overwhelming. You know,
How many
having too many live streams going. You know.
how many things did they have? What would you say at any given time, average live broadcast?
Oh God. I don't know. I remember Rob Music saying the peak times. I think it was like Monday mornings were the peak times, sorry, Sunday night was a peak viewership time. I have no idea. At its peak, do you mean?
Well, there are times so certain times of the night I would jump on, and I already figured it out because if I went on at 1 o'clock in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
I would be competing with Kazakhstan, Saudi Arabia, all those people
Oh, okay.
because they're in the middle of their day. Um, because I was in Hawaii, right? So in Hawaii has its own time zone.
Right.
So and I was never competitive, but I also wanted to make sure I get some kind of audience. So I had to figure out who's going live when, and when are there the least amount of people, or when are there the most people that are awake? Because
Yeah.
I
Right.
battled
Right.
with that.
Right.
So there are times when you see thousands of red dots in Europe, and then sometimes you would see like maybe 30. There are certain cities that always had red dots. Always
Yeah.
had. Yeah.
The peak time would always be when I was doing Periscope was 7 a.m. here. Like if you did 7 a.m., that mean or 8 a.m., you got the UK, and then you got the US coming back from work or whatever, maybe just settling in after dinner. And that was like numbers were insane. Like it was like I was getting 200 concurrent, 250 concurrent. I used to just go to this was like when people were still in awe of live streaming. I used to just film myself going to work, just on the subway.
yeah, I used to walk and talk.
I used to walk to work. Yeah, I used to just walk
I
to work,
think, oh my God.
and I get 200 concurrent.
I
Like it
remember,
was nuts.
and we thought, oh wow, Dave's taking us on an adventure.
Yeah, but that was the peak time. It was 7 a.m. because I got the UK and then I got the US. So that, yeah,
I didn't know what I was doing. All I know is I would watch you and other people. I said, you know what, I gotta come up with something because I can't compete with that. And then I came up with these slogans like walk and talk or in the kitchen with G-Lo, but the walk and talk was what you're one of the guys that did I call them walk and talk. And it's like, I gotta come up with a title because if they don't like the title, they're not gonna jump in there. And
yeah.
I remember those walk and talks. Those are great, man.
It was just people wanting to connect. That's it. It was just the fact that you could connect with people and just interact. That people appreciated that.
I
Yeah.
know I felt special when like you would acknowledge my name in front of all those people. Like,
Yeah.
he said my name. It's so childish, but it was funny because it's like we're just longing for Dave to see our. And if he didn't see our comment, we'd type it again. And then you remember Aerobro 808? Do you remember? You ever heard of Aerobro 808? The
Oh yeah, of
ukulele?
course. Yeah, yeah. You're one of your friends there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
He taught me how to do pre-typed words. You ever heard of that on iPhone? So
No.
yeah, dude, this old technology. So on iPhones, you can pre-type phrases,
Okay.
save them, and you can do shortcuts. So if I'm in your broadcast and I'm typing, I'm like, you know what? I want to tell him hello. I'll do tap EE. So if I do EE and then enter, it'll type up the whole slogan.
Oh, okay.
So like I would make silly stuff like hello, don't forget to talk to G Lo and emoji.
I remember that. Yeah, I do
Remember that?
remember that.
And we would flood the screen with comments. You remember, yeah, I'll do it to you. Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
So
But
you would do that into other people's broadcasts?
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
we would do that just to get your attention so you can say our name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you were supportive though. Like you were saying,
Oh,
you
yeah.
would say something about the person and then mention yourself. So
That's the one thing we learned about live streaming was you have to give, right? You have to give to the broadcaster and for lack of a better word, encourage them to keep going. Because a lot of us, we would go live and like, is anybody here? That's the initial feeling,
yeah,
right?
right.
And
Yeah,
when someone talks, you're like, oh, somebody's here. Let's keep going, you know?
yeah.
But it's the hearts too. Remember, so when people tap the screen,
Hmm.
when we've seen those hearts going, okay, somebody's actually active in here.
Yeah, right. That's true. That's true.
I want to pop this up. Tala did this for us. There you go.
Oh, yeah. She's got her. Is that her preset?
That's what she said.
She's
That's
got
what,
her prompt there.
he also had his own app. That's an old comment. Sorry about. Oh, Rob, yeah, had his own app.
Yeah, he did. Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
Braxme. I think it was Braxme.
I was in it. It was a secure server and all that. So.
Yeah. I was in it briefly too. Yeah.
I meant to tell you before we went live. Whenever you have to duck out, just say rapid fire,
Okay.
and then I'll give you 10 questions, and you don't have to answer. If you feel like you can't answer, just I probably can't answer that one. So
yeah. Okay.
that I meant to tell you that before, but I'm letting you guys, the audience, know. Hey, whenever Dave says rapid fire, that means we're going to land the plane, and he has to head out. So
I don't care. Yeah, I'm easy with the time. So.
man, so what was it? Oh, hearts. I don't know if you were there when Elon went live on his cell phone. Do you remember that? Did you ever
Which
see
one?
that? The very first one when he
Yeah, I
found.
do. The 8-bit Elon.
He was. I think he was legitimately embarrassed of how
Yeah,
poor
it
the
seemed
quality
like it.
was. Yeah,
It
because he
seemed like
kept
it.
laughing and then. But he said, "Can we turn off those hearts?"
Yeah.
And then one of the developers in the back, engineer, said, "Oh, that's just code from 2015. We never updated it." And people, so without getting political about the buyout, but to me, it's like, how can you have a company with 8,000 employees and you haven't updated code in 4 or 5 years?
They just totally neglected it.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
They totally ignored it. They're focused on other things, you know. Well, they got focused on the election, right? The whole Trump thing and all the involvement with the government, the tie-in with all that.
And
So
that's
live
documented.
streaming was, pardon?
And that's documented.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
We're not making this up.
No, and that's yeah. So live streaming is like the last thing on the list. So I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all how what poor state it was in, considering how much it was neglected. So
Yeah. I'm not glad that people lost their jobs, but it really bothered even to today on Android devices. So I have an iPhone, I have my Samsung as well. If you're on an Android device, you can't see comments. It's very spotty. It's very rare.
Really,
Yeah,
oh
it's
my
so
God.
strange. And
Yeah, Android always got Android always got the worst of it, right? They always had the features later and never were a priority at all.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. I don't know if it's harder to program because there's so many different kinds of phones or whatever. You have to take. I don't know what it is, but
I think the Android in general is harder because there's more than one device
yeah, right.
and there's more than one operating system, progressively speaking. So not everybody. So like iPhones, you typically only have one or two operating system updates. With an Android system, you can have 4, 5, or even 6 different operating system updates within
Mm,
a whole array of devices. And then on
yeah.
top of that, even today, like, sorry, I got a Twitter comment. I see Dave. Sorry, when I see comments, I see Dave. Oh, Dave in Chicago. What's up, Dave? And then Eric got Eric on X. Thank you, brother. Yes.
Hey guys.
So, um, so today they're still struggling because you've got is to full screen. You have iOS, iPhone,
Hmm.
right? You have Android, which is Linux operating. So when I say Linux, it's not just cell phones, it's tablets, Samsung tablets, it's all those other Android tablets. You also have Mac computers, which is Mac OS. And then guess what? If you got a PC, now you got Windows.
Yeah,
And so now they've got to figure out how to make all this work. The live streaming. Because if I go right now, if I show you Android has a different viewing system, people that
hmm,
are on a computer, they see comments in the live stream, but they're not displayed on the screen. It's so bizarre. It's kind of like Twitch, YouTube commenting stream on a desktop.
I see.
iPhones to today have the best viewing experience on iPhones.
I think so. Yeah, it seems like it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I always remember hearing just Android people just generally not happy with the experience and just the how slow the development was, or just not at all, just nothing. They got nothing.
I
So
bought an iPhone because of Periscope. That's how I
yeah,
converted to iPhone.
it's much better. It was a much better experience for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, yeah,
So I know we asked it earlier. Do you ever see yourself migrating to conversation predominantly versus
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I thought about it because again, the costs.
Yeah.
It wasn't. Um, how do you say? I couldn't maintain the cost of traveling, especially where I went. And trying to top every time, it costs a lot of money. So I thought, how am I going to adapt to this? Yeah, being a doing a talk show or whatever would be much more uh, economical.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking? Now, are you
48.
what?
Yeah.
When's your birthday? Oh, you don't have to say your birthday. But I just turned 48 last
Did you?
week.
Oh,
Yeah,
no way.
dude.
We're
What
the
the
same
heck?
age. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
48.
was gonna say you age well, but I think we age about the same. But
Mm.
I've had gray hair since I was like 22. So
Oh, really?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Past few years been kind of stressful, but yeah.
Stressful in regards to like profession.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, with that too. So
And you teach English, right? At
yeah,
university.
I'm teaching at a university here in Osaka. So
And you've been there what, 20 something years, right? At least.
I got here in 2001.
That's insane. And
Yeah, or
you
2000.
go
Sorry, 2000. Yeah, 2001. Yeah, it was right after 9/11. Like 1 month after 9/11, I left to come to Japan. It was a crazy time to be traveling and moving across the world. So
and how many languages do you speak?
I speak Japanese pretty good, Italian a little bit, and English. So three languages.
Well, why did you learn Italian?
My parents are Italian,
Oh, but you're from
so
Canada originally?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
My parents immigrated from Italy to Canada, so I learned Italian through them and my family. So
I did. This is the first time I learned that. I didn't. Maybe
oh
you said
really?
it. Yeah, I didn't know you spoke
Yeah,
Italian.
yeah, yeah. How
Wow.
about you? You're a mix of everything. What languages do you speak?
One.
Oh, you do?
Well,
Yeah.
I'm learning native Hawaiian now, and
Okay.
I'm very slow. So my mom, before she was Hawaiian Chinese, my dad is 400% Filipino. Um, it's funny because now that I'm not physically in Hawaii full time,
Hmm.
I have never been so hungry
Yeah, I can
to
imagine.
learn my native language
Yeah.
than ever before. Like it's weird, and I used to always make fun of all the Hawaiians that would be, I would say, like, not prideful, but they're very proud to be Hawaiian, but they're not, in Hawaii. I used to always wonder why they were like that, and now I know why. There's there's something about Hawaii, not just that I miss, but if you've ever been to Hawaii, there's something about Hawaii that we're a tiny little rock in the middle of the ocean. It's like our own universe, our own country, our own planet, and it's so healing. And when I was removed from that, man, I have a longing, man, to learn my language. We've been eating as much Hawaiian food as we can, and I'm not saying I took it for granted because I would broadcast the heck out of that
Oh,
stuff.
yeah. Yeah.
But it's like now that I can't, like when I eat the fish just now and yesterday, it's like I would eat that every day.
Yeah.
Bro, bro, I eat raw fish every single day when I'm in Hawaii.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? It's that it was like part of my, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
there was always raw fish in the refrigerator, always.
Are you guys planning on going back anytime, or is it you're going to be tied down there for a while?
Well, there was a time, so we've taken at least 8 trips already in the past uh 10 months. So it's getting kind of expensive to do that. So
Yeah.
we're very fortunate and we're blessed. We do have property still in Hawaii.
Hmm.
It's just that, my assignment now is to be here with my brother.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So we are planning to build on that property so we can get some rental income and then have a place when it's officially time to be back home. That's where
Mhm.
we'll. But yeah, man, I long to go back home and be home. You know, I'm not sure if you ever felt that because you've been in Japan so long. Where is home for you, Dave?
Uh, yeah. Good question. I mean, my parents are in Canada. That's my home. Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, I've been here almost as long as it was in Canada. I left when I was 25, and I've been here 20. It's going to be 23 years, so I've almost been here too. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what is. I move. I don't really think about where is home. I just move around. I'm pretty flexible with traveling. You know what I mean? So
I'm gonna ask a question. You can say I probably shouldn't answer that if you don't want to.
okay.
Have you met that special someone yet?
Not yet, but hopefully,
You
hopefully
remember
soon.
what? You remember there were these girls on, and guys, I'm not being inappropriate in any way. I'm married, happily married, but I, I think you and I had a few conversations about some live streamers that were beautiful on Periscope. You remember? There were a
Yeah, I
few.
do. Yeah, I don't
And
remember which ones, but
there was one in Australia. I think, I remember that one. I won't say her name, just obviously, but one in Australia, very beautiful. And I remember messaging you to go check her out or something. And then there was another
okay.
one but the one in, I'll be honest, I was hoping that you guys would connect.
I
I
think I
was like,
remember that one. I think
ah,
I
man, that'd
remember
be
that one.
such a great fit because I don't know. It wasn't just about physical attraction. I just felt she was a great broadcaster, and I saw that there was some kind of, you know, possibility, and I was really hoping that you guys would connect at some point. I
Yeah, I
remember
remember that.
saying, I don't know what I said. I can't remember, but I do remember I wanted you to connect with her at some
Oh, yeah,
point.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was a while ago. That was a long time ago. So
Hey,
yeah.
one more question. What about the Geisha? Because I know you did a lot of broadcasting with that, but there was one I saw where you were. I don't know if that was your video. It was like a private room with a geisha. Was that you, or
Hmm.
is that someone else's video?
Yeah, I did a couple of those. Yeah, it was. That was something before the pandemic. It was like a paid photo session, and it was run by he was actually like a world famous geisha photographer. And funny enough, he was probably the first geisha spotter, like I used to do. He used to stand in Gyeong, where I usually used to film, my geisha neighborhood, and he used to snap them as they go by. And he eventually befriended all these girls and the people in the community, and they trusted him. And through the years, this guy became like the geisha photographer. I forget his name. I have his books, but he was the ones who organized these sessions, and you paid a lot of money, especially the one that I filmed with them with the black kimono, because when they wear the black kimono, it's a special occasion. It's the beginning of the year. It was the New Year, so they had a whole dinner, and they booked this beautiful room where they do the no drama, the Japanese drama, and they do just dances there too. It was like $600. It was expensive. Like, it was not very cheap, but yeah, it was a. Looking back, I didn't realize at the time. I see that when I was doing that stuff, I didn't realize how much people appreciate it. Like, um, I was doing Periscope and just dumping my videos on YouTube, and I would get 300,000, like 250,000 or 200,000 views, and I didn't even think about it. I didn't
Just
even
upload it.
care.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was so focused on Periscope and everybody there. I wasn't thinking of the potential for what YouTube could be or what it did eventually be. But yeah, I can looking back, like of course I loved we loved everybody in the community there. They were amazing. But looking back, it makes me think, like, what would have happened if I'd stayed or actually took it seriously on YouTube. Like, there were some people streaming at that time, but I
You
did.
have 7,000, right, on YouTube? 7,000 followers.
Yeah, about 7,700, something like that. So, but streaming on YouTube didn't start till like 2017, I think it was. I think it
Yeah,
was something like
let's
that.
talk about that because people don't know that Twitter was the first of the major companies to do live streaming
On
right?
mobile, yeah.
On mobile. Yeah, that's to be clear. And then Facebook didn't do it till after
No,
Twitter,
yeah, it was after.
and then of course YouTube did it after
Yeah,
as well. But there were other companies I know because I remember we used to use UStream way
yeah.
back in the
Ustream was the big one
yeah,
with
and
Justin Kahn, right? Justin Kahn,
yeah,
that became Twitch, right?
and there's another one.
Ustream became Twitch, right?
I think yeah, I think they bought out the whatever you call that, all the programs or whatever it's called, and probably the rights to it as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was that's what changed Periscope too. Is when all the other people started coming in, it kind of affected the numbers, I guess, right? When Facebook came in and YouTube started coming in, and or just whatever, any there's so many live streaming apps. You remember how many, I don't know if you could say clones, how many clones came in, that it did affect Periscope, the number of people
I'm
watching.
trying to
So
name them. Sorry, Beagle Live, which is still open today.
yeah,
There was
Busker was one. Remember Busker?
Busker, yeah, Busker.
Haps. Well, that Haps was after, but
Um,
I'm trying to think what other ones I tried. I can't think of any other big ones that I tried, but
just Meerkat in the very beginning.
yeah, Meerkat was a big competition with, but they didn't have the social media behind them. So,
Yeah, that's true.
but
And nobody watched me on Meerkat, so I'm like, you know what? Forget this. I'm gonna go to.
I didn't even try Meerkat. I didn't even try it. So,
I did Meerkat because when I did my first broadcast on Periscope, nobody
mhm.
watched. I had like one viewer, and I'm like, you know what? I quit. So I downloaded another app, which is Meerkat, and I had nobody watch me on that either.
When was your first broadcast on Periscope?
I want to say November of 2015, I think.
Okay, so that year, yeah,
It was that year.
just a little bit later.
Yeah. I think it was in November. Because man, it was big. It was a hit at the time.
But even at that time, even if you started in November, there was still, uh, yeah, that's still your early adopter. That potential for growth
Yeah.
was huge, right?
Well, oh, okay. I remember now why I didn't have. It wasn't that I didn't have viewers. I had like a handful, but if you didn't engage with them, they would leave.
Yeah,
Unless you're doing something really weird or sexy or dangerous. But other than that, if you didn't
right.
engage, they would leave.
I guess once you had that critical mass of people watching, then maybe other people would come in and they'd see you interacting, and then
Yeah.
that'd draw them in and keep it going, which is how you do it, you know?
I think you used the word you're a location guy, right? And in that instance, a lot of us would sit in there whether you engage with us or not. But if you engage, obviously it would get us to stay longer.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I learned early on was to engage with people. And I kind of you talk about you spend a lot of money with the travel. I spent a lot of money on giveaways and just giving stuff away. And it wasn't to get viewers. I maybe deep down inside I did want people to watch, but I really wanted to bless people. Like, we gave away tripods, I gave away Hawaiian stuff, and
Yeah, I
uh,
remember that.
I think what drove that was the engagement. Like, I just want people to learn something, and hopefully somebody will win a tripod, or they'll win a box of chocolates from Hawaii or coffee.
It's just
Um,
part of the entertainment. Like you're just entertaining people. It's like a game show. Game
yeah,
shows give stuff away. They're trying to have fun. Yes, it's a business, but they're trying to have fun too and draw people in and just have some excitement, entertainment, letting them forget about their daily lives and and enjoying the time there. A replacement for TV is what it was. You
yeah.
know.
I will tell you this: if you had a subscription service like to watch you, I would pay. Like, why wouldn't I? I already pay 5 other services. I pay, Netflix. I used to pay YouTube $50 a month. I used to pay, all these subscription services. I would pay you
Yeah.
to watch, and
Hmm.
you know,
I guess the thing is that what added value is it to pay? Uh, do you get if you can think of some perks, then yeah, but if what's the difference between a guy paying and a person not paying? If they're getting the same thing,
I
why would
think it
anybody?
would have to be personalized probably to make it valuable.
I would do private streams, yeah, do
Yeah,
private streams and that, but again, I think you have to have a big enough audience that when you do the private streams there is that community feel there, because if
yeah,
it's too small and it's like you and one other person, it's like
it's kind of
it's not
weird.
that thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, on YouTube the numbers are, I mean, it's so much competition, it's hard to draw in a lot of people, so
I was going to tell you earlier, uh, how many I've had, probably 7 different companies that were sponsors,
mhm.
but I dropped them because I wasn't making any money with them. So to me, it's like, why would I even?
Put
If
that effort in, yeah.
it was one of them was a electric bike company called Pedigo,
Okay.
and so they gave me an electric bike, not for free, but I would have use of an e-bike, and I would just ride all around. I used to go to work with it, and I would live stream using it. I would promo, do all kinds of I did Instagram videos, whatever. But I couldn't get anybody to spend $2,000 on a bicycle.
Yeah, I guess
So it's like
that's a lot of money.
it is. Maybe if I was a big time, content creator, maybe. Um,
Yeah.
there was another company. It was a scuba
Oh
dive
wow.
company.
Did you approach them or they approach you?
That one I approached them. I
Okay.
gave I had like a media. I call it a media kit or something,
Okay.
and I would just give it to them and say, "Hey, this is what I do. Would you be willing?" And I do that today. So today I have Dubby energy drinks. I still have Archon, and then I have it's called 5 and 7 Tactical Solutions. They are a basically like firearms training service.
Okay.
Um, and then the other one is a clinical psychologist that I partnered up with. So, because I interviewed her and I said, "Would you be willing to offer some kind of services to my viewers?" And so
Hmm.
she's, yeah, just so it's just funny how it works out that way. And I haven't made a lot of money, but it's just something that would justify the time spent on here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But you can get people easy, no problem. I can see you just like, even if it's like an extra $100 a month, that would be.
I appreciate even just that if I could do that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I
I mean,
would.
I make a little bit from the views,
Oh
but
yeah, on YouTube.
yeah, and recently they changed the sharing, so you do you make a little bit more money. They're a bit more generous with the revenue sharing, so that helps. But yeah, nothing huge. But hey, a
So
little I'll take whatever I can get.
how does that work with YouTube? Is it actual viewership or is it ad revenue?
um, yeah, I'm not really sure, but I think it's both. It depends what you're talking about. I think it just depends on the video. But I know that the one video that performed well is one that people just watch over and over again. So I think it is just the amount of hours watched. Um, yeah. So
Are we talking like thousands of dollars
no,
per
no,
month?
no, not I'll be honest, just like 150 a month. Like, so.
Dude,
But whatever, I'll take it
hey,
just from
it
doing.
works.
And but yeah, that's from like replays. I'm not. It's not from new videos. So if that is a constant stream coming at me every month, hey, I'm happy with that. So yeah.
And do you have a lot of content on your phone that you haven't shared with us?
Uh, yeah. Sometimes I do. I don't keep track of anything. But there were some videos I put up, and they just tons of people. Just something weird or whatever. Tons of people watch. What was the one I put up recently? It was one of the Geisha ones. Yeah, I never posted it. I put it up, and it was like, yeah, just had thousands of people. People just want to see that content, so it helped. Yeah, so. But yeah, there's just some stuff. I just got clips of stuff that I never put up. So
Your top 5 viewed content would you say Geisha would be number 1?
yeah, that's number one. Yeah,
What about
yeah.
number 2?
The the bonsai.
Yeah.
People love the bonsai ones, and then the trucks, the decotora, the. Do you ever see the modified trucks, the Japanese kind of monster trucks? Those ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's a lot of tourists are watching that. And then what's the other? Ikebana is another weird. Ikebana is like Japanese flower arranging. And then there's just some other little quirky ones that are really in a category, like the cat cafe I went to with the train set. There's little weird stuff like that. Bear Paw Cafe. You ever see that one?
No, no.
It's there's kids who are from like troubled homes, and I guess they're they're trying to integrate them back into society. And you go to this cafe, and basically the kid makes the drink for you, hands it out to you with a bear paw. So they're anonymous. I think these kids have a lot of social anxiety. They've went through a lot of trauma. So that's their way of interacting with society, is this bear paw cafe. And that one got a lot of views too. It's a pretty unique story, and I saw it on the news. So as soon as I saw it, I put it on YouTube. And that's another thing. If you're fast with what's on the news, you'll benefit in that way too. So
I got to ask you this. So in Hawaii we'd have a lot of um oh, I'm sorry, my mic is really hot. So sorry about that. So in Hawaii we have a lot of Japanese channels.
yeah, right. And I can
And
imagine.
like they would cook rice and they would have these
Hmm.
cameras on the guy cooking the rice, and I'm not being disrespectful to Japanese, but it's just how I hear it. I hear them go, "Oh, and then this light, and all these graphics, and the
Yeah,
guy
that's
eats the
Japanese
rice, and
TV, right?
he's eating the rice. He's like, "Oh, yeah, mm, yeah, it's like, God, these guys are glorifying all kinds of weird stuff in it. It's like,
Yeah.
why do they do that? I'm just curious.
You know what? If I'm gonna be really, really honest, I think Japanese people are they're very polite. Uh, they're pretty serious, and people work hard here. They work long hours. And when they watch TV, they want to escape from that. And to do that, they go to the extreme by doing that with the bright letters, the big subtitles, the
Sound effect.
exaggeration of their motions, and that. And particularly here in Kansai, in Osaka, in this area, the people here are very. That's them. That's that. That's so. To me, watching that, it reflects the people here more, so it's not that much of a shock to me because Kansai people are like that. They're very outgoing and loud and brash, and the graphics kind of reflect that. But I think in Japan as a whole, the people the way they are, like in Tokyo especially, people in Tokyo are not like that. They're not. I mean, there's exceptions always. It's a total generalization, but I think people in Japan would agree that uh, people in the Kanto region and the Tokyo region are very more introverted. They're quieter. They're not outgoing like that. Whereas here in Kansai, particularly in Osaka, they're like that. So watching TV, watching people being extroverted and the colors and the sounds, and it's an escape. It's their way of of expressing themselves, or watching somebody do that. It's how do I say? It's living vicariously through them. Seeing people do that, it's a release. So I think that's why it's like that. So
Are you gonna
that's my
marry?
take on it.
Are you gonna marry a Japanese woman?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Single life is okay. I
Yeah,
don't mind being alone.
I can see you
I don't
marrying a
mind.
Japanese woman for sure.
Could be possible. I'm gonna get a drink. Excuse me.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny you say about Japanese how the culture, like so, the polite, traditional, very respectful. I took my wife to this restaurant in Honolulu called oh my gosh, can't remember. It'll come to me. But it was a Kobe steakhouse, a real
Okay.
one. So at the time, there were only 9 restaurants in the United States that were allowed to sell this brand of Wagyu beef. And it was
Oh,
from
really?
a prefecture. I forget which one it is. But in order to sell their beef, you have to go through a whole process. And once you get approved, they give you a certificate with a gold seal.
Hmm.
And then they give you a whole bunch of stuff. So you have to display that in your restaurant
Okay.
to prove that you can sell their beef.
Yeah. Right. Right.
This restaurant had 15 seats. 15? Yeah, 15 seats in it. That's it. Small restaurant.
Yeah.
Everybody was either from Japan,
Oh,
flown
wow.
in, and they live in Hawaii, or to that capacity. My wife's plate was 300 and my plate was 200. I had the discounted plate. So it was
Oh my
$500.
God. Oh my God.
I bought it was the best $500 I've ever spent in my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
The beef was just unbelievable.
How much? How big of a steak was it? Like how many grams?
It was small, because you can't eat a lot of
No,
you.
you can't.
You get well. We ate a lot that day because it's in dishes. I think it was a 9-course meal.
Okay.
So the actual main course, I want to say it's less than 6 ounces, probably 4 ounces,
Hmm.
because we had beef. Yeah, because they give you like raw like wagyu tartar. We had of course crab and other seafood, sashimi, ahi sashimi.
Hmm.
But it was such a great experience. But when I got the bill, which I already knew what it was, and when I got the bill, I started to add a tip, or there was no section for tip. And the lady was like, "Oh, we don't accept tip." So, oh,
Oh,
okay,
right. They're total Japanese.
yeah. So I said,
Yeah.
she said, in Japan, it's already understood that the service is excellent regardless of what you pay.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, well, okay. So we're sitting after we're talking, and I noticed the staff they have nothing else left to do because they cleaned up everything, and
Hmm.
there are no more customers for the day, and they're just sitting there. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm ready to go. So I got my check, signed it. The the waitress, or I don't know if you call them that, the waitress, the greeter, and the chef, they walked with us outside the restaurant
And they bow.
to our car,
Wow.
They stood there and they bowed and they said thank you and arigato, right? Arigato.
And they watch you leave too?
They watch you leave.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, that's such amazing. It was the best meal, best service. Um, yeah, I would never. I have pictures somewhere. I posted it up, but I'm like, I want to do that in Japan, but not pay $500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've never done I've never done it here. So I see the steaks in the department store. They have the crazy Chateaubriand Kobe beef that are like ridiculous, but
Is
I've
it
never
expensive
experienced.
there too?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even remember how much, but per 100 grams, I can't remember it. I don't even want to say. I'm not sure, but it's. I remember going, oh my god, like how I would never pay that much for a steak. So I never could afford it. So
I've only done it twice. So
yeah, I can see that. I can see doing it once or twice just to.
like once a year or once every 5 years. So I
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
just
yeah.
took my wife this year to another restaurant that actually serve the same beef. But so there's different grades. So you have A5,
Hmm.
but then there's a marbling score.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think the higher the I think don't quote me on this, but I think 12. If it's a 12, marbling score 12, that is the most expensive because of the fat content.
Yeah, right, right.
So
The funny thing is that that's not. It's really not satiating. Like you're still hungry. Don't you find you're still hungry after eating it?
not that meal. Uh,
Okay,
not the first one. The second time I was still a little bit hungry, but and I think that's why they did it as a 9 course. By the time you got
I see.
it was already full.
Okay, yeah.
And they brought out palate cleansers, so you were able to enjoy the actual taste
I
of it.
see. Yeah. Because I remember even talking to the guy who ran a Wagyu restaurant. I'm like, I was honest with him. I said, I don't understand the allure of Wagyu. Why people are so, uh, why people enjoy it. Because I said, when I eat Wagyu, I'm never satiated. I always want to eat more, and I'm always hungry after. He's like, yeah, you're right. He was the guy who ran the restaurant. He's like, yeah, you're right. But that's probably
Then,
what keeps them buying more and more is that it's
yeah.
not that satiating. It's not like a big porterhouse steak with no fat. It's like, you eat 250 grams of that, you're like, oh my God, not enough. So
If we ever get a chance, I want to take you one day. So I think there's 3 ranchers here in the U.S. that they got that Japanese Wagyu.
the
Uh,
certificate to do it,
well, they got the
approval or whatever it is.
I don't know how they did it. So they got the breed to breed with an American Angus.
I see.
So you have the fatty of the Japanese Wagyu with the beefy, meaty of the American cattle. So you have the best of both. Now you've got a steak that's not too predominantly fatty, but a lot of fat, but also a lot of meat within the
Hmm.
fibers. And it is some of the best steak I've ever had. I think I'd rather have that than Japanese Wagyu.
Me too. Yeah. And the funny thing is you can't find a steak like that here. Like that kind of meat is like the lowest quality. Like it's the cheapest one. And you won't find a nice cut of that in a department store. It's all the marbled Wagyu. So I'm like, if I want to have a normal red meat steak with no fat, I have to look pretty hard. And even when I do, the cuts aren't very nice because it's the scrap. It's like the lowest quality. So, and they usually cut it in like here people eat meat in the servings like Korean barbecues. The square little square pieces. You don't eat steak so much. Only the Wagyu like that. But with the Korean barbecue, that's how you eat your red meat without the fat. That kind of serving.
But I would guess that they eat it with a lot of side dishes as well, right? Like vegetables, pickled vegetables, and rice.
Yeah, right, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
small dishes and several of them. Yeah, that's right. So.
What is your favorite? Since you've been there so long, you've had the wealth of dishes to eat. What is your go-to dish that you could eat every day or every other day? Or
Go-to dish. Well, I love sushi. I mean, nothing like and to be honest, I'm not even picky with going to a formal place. Nothing like going to a conveyor belt sushi and just boom, 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 just eating like crazy. I love that. I love it. I love the atmosphere of it. It's just so relaxing. Going to conveyor belt sushi. It's my favorite.
We're
My
best
favorite
friends.
kind.
We're best friends. Actually, you and my wife would be like even here. Here's a funny thing about here. So in Hawaii, if I have a sushi restaurant, I don't have anything but Japanese food. If I'm
Okay.
Chinese, I only have Chinese food. That's in Hawaii. They still have that separation of culture with the food that you make. Korean predominantly still do Korean, but sometimes you usually find a few Korean restaurants that have sushi. Because it's a moneymaker. I get it. But here in Oregon, I would say 95% of Japanese restaurants are not Japanese owners. They're Chinese.
Oh yeah. That's
Yeah.
like my hometown in Canada. It was Korean or Chinese.
Yeah.
Are the owners. So
And it's so bizarre for us. So when we eat, here's here's the bonus to that. When we get sashimi from a sushi restaurant here, they don't know how to cut it. So guess what they do? They just cut it fat, and we get big pieces.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
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 Japanese legit, when they cut, they do the perfect cut.
Yeah. Right.
The restaurants here, it's so bizarre. I love it because they don't know how to cut it. So just cut big chunks and they give you a whole bunch, and it's like,
That's right.
yeah.
There is one guy here that does that. I don't know if you ever seen on Street Food Asia. They show that guy from Osaka. He torches food here with a
Yeah,
burner.
you
You ever
did
see?
that. You did that live, right?
Yeah,
No.
I did a clip, a reel of
Yeah.
it. That guy, he does it like that. He charges a lot for the plates, but he doesn't cut it nicely.
Yeah.
But you get big slabs of sashimi for about $25 but you get a big serving of it. So, but that's one of the few places. The other places are just like you said, they cut it nicely and properly, like a very equal amount and size. But he just like boom, 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 throws it on a plate, and you got a huge plate of sashimi. So, yeah.
So when he does that, he dips his hand in ice water, right? Is that how?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's so
Yeah. Yeah.
bizarre that he does. That's
I got
funny.
to stream. I've never streamed it. I don't think I have ever streamed it. I've only made clips of it. I got to do that. That's one. I should have done that during the pandemic, but I just never got to it. But now the lineups are insane, like because the tourists are back. So, but I got to do that. but it's not going to be easy because there's just too many people around. But
You got to go to Heroes Sushi. I think that's. You ever heard of him?
the famous one in Tokyo
I think so.
or Jiro? You mean Jiro?
He. Oh yeah. He's a really old guy.
Yeah, Jiro.
There was a whole Netflix special.
Yeah. I remember that looks amazing. I mean, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That does look really good.
That would be my dream to go there before he dies.
Yeah. So
Sushi.
All right, man. Let's do rapid fire. I gotta.
Yeah, man. First of all, let me say I appreciate your time. I love.
Thank you. I'm glad we could finally talk. I really appreciate you inviting me.
We can't squeeze all this in one broadcast, so we'll do this again.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Maybe we'll do it organic one day.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Why did you do this broadcast?
Why did I do? I've never spoken to you. Always look forward to talk to you, so that's why I did it.
What makes you get up every morning?
What makes me get up every morning? Oh God, that's a good question. I can't answer that. I don't know. Yeah, you put me on the spot there.
That's a good answer because some of us don't know, right? It's day to day. Money not an issue. Where will be your next trip?
Antarctica. On a nuclear powered icebreaker. That would be my next trip. Yeah.
Wow. That's one of the best answers I've heard.
Yeah, that's always one. I looked into it. I was going to do it, but it was like 15, 20 grand or something like that. So
the earthquake that you were in on a moped, were you afraid?
Absolutely. 100%. Didn't know what was going on. I was afraid. Yeah. I didn't know what to expect, what was going to happen. So, but my instincts were to start filming for some reason. So, but that's the live streamer in me or in us, right? To go to that first.
Yeah. Your desire moving forward to be married or single?
I can't answer that.
I'll be honest with you. I've been married 25 or almost 25 years, and I'm grateful. And me and my wife were just talking about it. It's like I told her, I don't know what we would be like if we hadn't had met. Like, and I said, I think one of us would be in jail. You just never know. But I joke
Yeah.
about it. But I do wish you well in whatever you choose because you're a great man. And yeah. Okay, 3 more questions. I think 3 more. Pepsi or Coke?
Coke.
American Kit Kat or Japanese Kit Kat?
Oh, wow. If it's something interesting, it's probably Japanese, but I think Americans are starting to do it too. I'll probably go Japanese. I'll stay loyal to them, to where I am.
Why do they say expats?
Expatriate
Okay.
is someone who's lived in another country, moved somewhere else, and yeah, that's what they call it, expatriates. Yeah, I don't know what the etymology of that word is, but yeah, someone who's moved from their home country to another country is an expat.
What is the? And I'm not a sports guy, but I would ask you this question: what is the number one sport in the world?
Soccer, I'd say. Yeah, and it's very easy to play, and yeah, I guess I would say soccer. I think is number one sport in the world. Yeah.
2 more questions, and we're done.
Okay.
Do you see a future in the live streaming world? There's no trick question. However you want to answer it.
Do I say future for live streaming or for me for live streaming?
Or both, either or.
Yes, I think even more because speeds are still getting faster, and as they get faster, the quality of video get better, and because a lot of the problems now with live streaming are technical, not getting signals or that. It's gotten much better since we've been doing it. So
A lot better.
I think it's going to get better technically. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the barrier, is the technological barrier. So the only problem is people nuisance streamers making a negative, which is a big issue here, which is something maybe we'll talk about next time.
We'll talk
There's
about next time.
a lot of nuisance streamers here, live streamers. So that's not a good thing too. But
Definitely, we'll talk about that because I did listen to that on your last podcast. I forget his name. He's a fellow expat as well. He did a podcast where he talked about that nuisance streamers.
yeah,
and that is an issue. I did look it up, and that is a real issue for sure.
yeah. There's 3 of them in the news here. One of them was a native Japanese too, and he was
crazy.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. So, and ever since then, you go into places and even to outdoor events, and there's signs that say no live streaming. I've never seen that before, but because of these 3 guys, that's something that's happened now. So, and just negative to everybody, right? Everybody associates something negative with a YouTube. They see a YouTuber, it's like, oh god,
Yeah,
that's not good.
I think we'll do an intensive live streaming discussion next time.
Yeah,
I think
I would love to.
Just live streaming.
For sure.
Last question.
Okay.
You are a teacher. You've been
Mhm.
teaching English for a while.
Yeah.
And so I think this would be a fair question to ask. And I don't know if you could answer it, but I hope you can. Is what is your desire for the next generation after you and I have gone? What is your desire for the next generation?
Next generation of in general.
Maybe people that you've come across and you've had the privilege of teaching, or even on live streaming. Like, I'll before you answer, I'll tell you this: I've learned so much from you. I've learned how to become a broadcaster, how to become someone that shares content. I've learned to have variety. So without sounding all weird and like I have no gain from this, but what you share with the world spoke to me volumes. And so for me, on a generational aspect, what you share with me, believe it or not, my kids see that. Because when dad
That's true. Yeah.
They see dad doing that. So that's how I would frame that for myself. For you, like, is there anything for you that you would, when Dave in Osaka, in Hawaii, as we say, is Makadai dead, he's dead and gone, what would your desire for them, maybe from you, what would you like for them to see or get from you? Like, what is your desire for them after you've gone?
That's a great question. And I've never thought about, but I have thought about that this is maybe a permanent document of me after I'm gone, and all of our peers too. And this is going to live forever. What do I hope? Well, I had an answer for it in general, the next generation, but if you're going to put it in the context of live streaming, I think one of the things is historically a document. One of the big things that people watch is the Geisha, and sometimes you get a lot of slack from that. People say it's like paparazzi and I'm invading on people's privacy, but I think also it's a historical document of these girls, these ladies who are doing this, and in the future you can look back on this and you can actually see the girls walking. Oh, she was working there. She was working at this time, or we didn't see her there. So I think in that sense, it's a historical document of what's happening in terms of that. So that's my way of saying that. I don't have a problem with that. A lot of people did, and I do get a lot of negative comments about that. But if you take it in that perspective, yeah, it's a historical document. In terms of next generation, well, I can say it maybe using it positively. We're going back to the theme of nuisance streamers. I like to think that I do things positively. I like to think that I use it in a positive way, and I don't do it for massive financial gain. So to do it in that spirit, and to convey a message, whatever that individual's message is, and to show them that anybody can do it, any regular Joe can do it, then that's great. I like to think of myself as the regular Joe. So any kid who's watching who sees it and says, "Oh, that's a cool way to interact with people. I want to try that too." In that sense, yeah, that's I'd love to see the generation, and I can say maybe more. I think the world is getting more polarized. Like I'm going to get maybe a little bit more of the next generation. The world is becoming more polarized.
Yeah.
I see that especially in the United States and even in the world, the rest of the world. Right wing and left wing are becoming more extreme. I think live streaming, at least in the way we do it, it is not about those political things. It is about the community of people and human beings enjoying a experience together, regardless of that. The broadcasts are not political, nothing about any sort of ideology, and we're talking about things that we have in common rather than what our differences are. And in a time where things are becoming more polarized, that is how we're going to continue as a human race and move forward. So if that little microcosm of a community is what's going to bring the world together and make us think about our similarities more than our differences, then we've done something positive to prevent that polarization from becoming more extreme. We're working against that force. So that's definitely one thing, one bigger role that we play. And I think that we all, our community of people and the people that we know, the role we play for the next generation. So,
Well, let's do it in 2024.
yeah,
Let's get it done.
yeah, I agree. And you know what? I want to say one more thing. I want to say we lost two people in the community. There's maybe a sad way to end, but I want to say there's two people in the community we lost in Periscope in the past few weeks. a lady named Polly Scopes. She was known as Polly Scopes. She's from Boston, I believe, and she passed away a couple weeks ago.
Can you tell me how to
So
spell that? I'm going to put it on the screen so we honor them.
Polly, and then Scopes.
Is that one word or two words?
Yeah, altogether one word. She passed away, and I think it was a couple weeks ago, and I'm really sad to hear about that.
What's the other one?
And another one we just lost recently, the past few days, was Melanie Fay. Her name is Melanie Fay 61. I believe it's 061. I don't know if it's just Melanie Fay. 61 or 061. She was from the UK, and she passed away just, I think, in the past week. So
Melanie is it F-A-Y?
Fay.
And 063 perhaps?
061.
061, okay.
Or 61. I can't recall which one, but yeah. So just a little shout out to them, and that was very unfortunate to hear that about them. But.
So I put them up on screen just to honor them. Polyscopes 223 or 20. I just put 2023 for the year that they've gone. Yeah. And Melanie Fay 061. She passed.
Yeah, I think it's 061. So.
Well, we'll honor them.
Yeah.
The wisdom of Dave in Osaka. What if I told you that the left wing and the right wing belong to the same bird?
Well, we do. That's the thing that people don't realize, is that we do, and it's the perspective is that we don't, and that's the problem with the world. Yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah, the wisdom of Greg Lopez, right back.
No, I cheated.
Oh, did you? There you go. Hey, whatever.
I won't take credit
from your mouth.
Yeah. I'm just a messenger.
Yeah,
man, I appreciate your time. I know our viewers enjoy your time. I'm gonna do my goodbyes and all that stuff, Dave, and then once the live ends, you and I will be in the back office, and I just want to say some of my last words for you and all that. So,
okay, I'm right here. Thank you, everybody watching. Thanks for inviting me, Greg. We'll do it again for sure.
Man, I just want to say we appreciate you. We love you. Thank you so much, Dave. Anybody that is not a follower of Dave in Osaka, that's his name. If you didn't know it's been in the top right of your screen for the past, 1 hour and 58 minutes. You're awesome, Dave. What the heck? I love you, bro. My heart is full. So if you're not following Dave in Osaka, make sure you follow him. That is his handle on all social media. Don't discriminate. Follow him on YouTube. Follow him on Instagram, as well as. Are you on TikTok as well?
Yeah, I'm not really on there so much.
So follow him at least on YouTube and here on X at the minimum, because I think there's a lot of good content, even on Instagram as well. So, family, as I always say, we're just grateful that you're here, that you carved out some time out of your day to be with us. On behalf of Brother Dave and myself, we love you guys. God bless you guys. Ahui ho, aloha, and mahalo.